It is to get the predator to believe or think that trying to get into your birds is going to cost him more in calories than he is going to receive. Alright, so if you've been watching us for any length of time, or if you've seen us at Homesteaders of America, Homesteading Life, the Shindig, anywhere, and you've talked with us about predator control, the one thing that I've always told you is there's no such thing as a 100% predator-proof chicken coop. So yes, I just got you with a little bit of clickbait. I do apologize, but this is a video that if you keep chickens, you really need to see. Now, when it comes to your chickens, or really any of your fowl, and you keep them in a coop with a run, the whole object of your run and coop is deterrence. It is to get the predator to believe or think that trying to get into your birds is going to cost him more in calories than he is going to receive, and so he'll walk on down the road. Their name of their game is survival, and it's all about calories for them. So if you can make it to where they have to burn more calories than they're going to be able to consume from getting one of your chickens, they're not even going to bother. So with that being said, let me introduce you to my predator-resistant chicken coop. I'm going to break it down into a couple of areas. You've got your predators that will climb and dig, and then you have your aerial predators. Let's talk about the predators that will climb or dig first. These ones that I'm talking about is your possums, your raccoons, your foxes, your coyotes, your cats. How can you make it to where it either causes them too much pain or they're burning way too many calories to be able to get to your bird? Well, let's talk about your outer fencing first, your perimeter fencing. I use just the regular welded wire. You can get them in rolls of 100 feet, but normally they're only about 4 to 5 feet tall. I like to have very tall chicken runs, so sometimes my poles are 7 to 8 feet out of the ground, so which means I have to have 2 rolls of this wire to go around my chicken coop and yard. Then what you do is you take the one that's going to be your bottom strand. You come up about 6 to 8 inches and you put a fold in it. You bend it. You want it to do kind of like an L. And then you bring it down to where that L is laying down on the ground. And then you can secure the upper portion of that fence to your poles. Now, the reason why you put that L in there is to stop anybody from digging. That gives you a 6 to 8 inch buffer to stop the animals from digging. Now, you can dig a trench and place this in the ground, or you can do like we do, and that's just let it sit on the top, let grass and stuff grow up from underneath it, cover it up, and then when the animal starts to dig, he'll hit it, and with it being the welded wire, it's not going to pop anything real. He's going to have to work at it for a while, and that's just going to burn too many calories. He's going to go on about his way. Now, if he's a climber, possum, raccoon, gray fox, how you can prevent that or make it to where they're working twice as hard or causing some pain, what we do is we took not three strands, but we took electric wire and we ran it across the bottom about 6 to 8 inches up, across the middle, and then at the top I took my PVC that I'm using as insulators and I cut them at 45, and I had them leaning outwards, facing away from my chicken yard, and then I ran 3 strands of wire up through there. You kind of make it almost look like a prison. It's facing out, where I think at a prison they turn them around and flip them and bend them in to stop the inmates from being able to climb up and over. Well, this way you're stopping them from being able to climb up and over and get in. And then it's charged. It's charged with a solar power charger, and all 3, well, I keep trying to say 3, but all the strands are hot. You got the 3 across the top, the 1 in the middle, and the 1 at the bottom. So if your animal starts to try to duck up underneath it, it could hit him across the back. If he tries to go over top of it, it'll hit him on the belly. And all these shocks, they will hurt and scare the predator, and he will run away. That alone should prevent any of your diggers and your climbers from being able to get into the yard to be able to come after a bird. So let's talk aerial predators, because this kind of ties in. It does make it a little bit more difficult for your climbers, but it's really not going to stop them. Now, you will see some people, they will put hard fencing across the top and basically kind of enclose it. You can do that. That is super great, good idea if you can afford to do it. You'll see some people buy netting. Again, if you can afford to do it, they are a better option than what I'm getting ready to show you. But if finances are tight, you can take just mere string, fishing line, barbed wire if you have extra barbed wire, or like in this case, we used extra chunks of electric fencing that were too short for other means or anything like that. And there are some spots where they're tied together with a square knot. This whole thing is to prevent your birds of prey from being able to do a straight dive in to be able to get one of the birds. It's a very good eye deterrent for them. They don't see a good flight path for them to be able to take, and they leave it alone. If you have a population boom, and let's just say that one tries to start to rest or perch on your gate or on some of these wires, you can, with using spare electric wire, you can make this whole thing hot. You can run a jumper off of one of your electric lines that prevents your climbers, attach it in different places, and you can make this hot. I don't know what type of voltage you'll get out of it, but you could do it, and that could also act as a good deterrent to stop your aerial predators. Let's talk about the coop itself, because at the end of the day, that coop is their home and that's their safe haven. You have to make that as safe as possible. Now, none of the things that we talked about before with the perimeter will stop a snake or a mouse or a rat, because they're still so small, they're still going to be able to get through. It may help out with a weasel or a mink, but don't count on it. Where that will come into play to be able to prevent them, to make them burn that extra calories, is keeping that coop and making this coop as tight as possible. Now, if you look, as you look at ours, you can see that we used recycled lumber, but there's not a lot of openings for critters to be able to get in there and get their hands and stuff in there. There's a lot of things that are secured. For example, our chicken door that lets them come out, it's on a sliding system where it slides, and it also has the predator resistant latch. And basically with this latch, when it hooks down into it, you have to pull the bottom back and then be able to manipulate it up and out of the ring. Makes it extremely difficult for any predator that doesn't have digits that he can manipulate stuff with. Your possum and your raccoon could work at it, but they're going to get frustrated before they kind of figure it out, and they're going to leave it alone. Also, our door is about 1 foot to 2 feet up off the ground. We have the ladder for them to come, for the chickens to come in and out of, placed there right now, but at the end at night, we slide that door closed, and then we hang it up on that latch or up on the edge. And then the predator also has to try to do all of this and get through all of that standing on his hind feet. That's just too much work. All of our doors are secured by those latches. Now, as time goes on, if your boards warp or twist or do any of that, then you may have to readjust where your hooks are. to be able to get a good tight fit on some of the doors. Now, with our chicken coop, we also have 2 access doors on the one side. These access doors gives us access to our nesting boxes and to our feed that we keep in there. Now, our feed is kept in there in a food grade blue barrel that has a lid with a latch that can be locked down. We can also store extra bedding up on this top shelf and be able to keep our egg collecting baskets in there and any other tools that we may need, a pair of scissors to clip wings, anything like that that we need we can store in here, so that way when we come out here it's easily accessible, we know where it's at, and it's good to go. The main door, the big door, is just there for when we have to go in there and clean it up. So that door is extremely tight. You've got to work at it to be able to get it open. The nesting box doors and stuff like that, they are still always a work in progress because they do get used so much that sometimes we'll have to adjust where we have the eyelid or the hook to be able to get a tighter closed door. We use a tin roof on here, so that way if one of the climbing predators climbs up my pecan tree that is here right now, but it won't be by the end of this summer, and jump down onto the roof, a tin roof is harder for a raccoon to pull up. It's not like it's just shingles or any other type of roofing where he's standing and he starts pulling, he's going to have to pull against his weight, and it's just a good deterrent. And that just about sums up our predator resistant chicken coop. Now again, this is predator resistant. I'm not guaranteeing you that if you have a population boom and you have a very hungry predator, that he's still not going to do whatever it takes to get in there to get your birds, because at the end of the day, if there's no other food sources available for them because the population of raccoons is too big in your area, any calories is better than no calories when it comes to a hungry animal. But if you do implement some of these things that I showed you today, the amount of predator attacks that you have on your homestead will decrease tremendously. If you have any questions about our predator resistant chicken coop, please leave them in the comments below. This is your first time here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell. Thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless and have a nice day.